Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for a character discussion video. So, the next character that I'm going to talk to you guys about is Scarlet O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. This is one of my favorite classics, and it's a historical Civil War novel. Scarlet is a Southern belle. And her father is a landowner. She's pretty, or although she's described, the first sentence of the book says, let me see, find it. That's the preface. Scarlet O'Hara was not beautiful, but men seldom realized it when caught by her charm, as the Tarleton twins were. In her face were too sharply blended the delicate features of her mother, a coast aristocrat of French descent, and the heavy ones of the florid Irish father. But it was an arresting face, pointed of chin, square of jaw. Her eyes were pale green with a touch of hazel, starred with the bristly black lashes, and slightly tilted at the ends. Above them, her thick black brows slanted upward, cutting a startling oblique line in her magnolia white skin, that skin so prized by Southern women, and so carefully guarded with bonnets, veils, and mittens against the Georgia suns. And that is describing what Scarlet looks like. She is not considered a great beauty, but there's something about her that lures men in. She has a charm, a Southern charm. Scarlet is a very complicated, very unlikable woman. She is mean and a little too ambitious, doesn't always follow society's rules. She's a bit of a flirt, and it's probably putting it nicely. She will flirt with any man, although her heart belongs to Ashley Wilkes. And she is a spoiled brat. But this girl will do anything to survive. She is a survivalist. But the thing is that Scarlet is not a nice person. She is very unkind to her sisters. She uses and manipulates people. And there are people like Ashley and Melanie Wilkes who are just oblivious and just only see the supposed good in her. But while everyone else knows who Scarlet truly is. You would think I would like Melanie, but she's almost as a foil to Scarlet. She's not as interesting. Melanie is too good for this world. She's an angel. She's so good and pure and kind and loving, and she will always see the best in Scarlet. But she's very simple, very uncomplex, uncomplicated. But there's a strength in here, I will get back to Scarlet in a minute, but there is a strength in Melanie Wilkes that, despite the fact that she's almost a little too naive, I think there's something to be said about people who see the good in others and refuse to see the bad, which, people will take advantage of that, and it's definitely not always a good thing to only see the good in people, because then, like I said, people will take advantage of you, and it could get you in trouble. But, like I said, there's something to be said about people that see the best in people. They might even inspire people to be better, to encourage them. And, of course, by the end of the story of Gone with the Wind, Scarlet does finally appreciates Melanie and how good of a sister-in-law she is, because Scarlet does marry her first husband. Yes, I said husbands, as in plural. She actually realizes, oh, I don't deserve Melanie's friendship. Melanie's actually a kind, good person, and I just treat her horribly. In fact, I know that there is a sequel that was written by a different author. I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of fun, and I liked that Scarlet and Rhett got a happy ending in that story and everything. It finished the story. but I know that, it probably, if I read it again, it probably wouldn't seem as good as this one, and it just. And I mean, I do like that we were in a different location in the South, which was really cool. And we got to meet new characters. We even got to go to Ireland in that story. But I'm sure there are flaws to that one, and there's very valid reasons why it's probably not as good or doesn't, deserve the same accolades as this one, as Gone with the Wind does. But so anyway, but I did read it, so, and I liked it. Just as an average story, just another sequel. But anyway, so back to Scarlet and Melanie. So that's let me go ahead, and that's the first thing I'm going to talk. I might as well start with that friendship, or sort of friendship. So in the beginning of the story, like, Scarlet is in love with Ashley Wilkes, but she's constantly being told he's not her kind. They shouldn't be together, and they don't make sense. She's told by her dad, and even, I think, I cannot believe I can't remember. I feel so bad. I should remember. Well, I'm not gonna, anyway, well, she's told by everybody by multiple people, that you and Ashley Wilkes are not the same. You should not get married, and she is very stubbornly refuses to accept that, because she is in love with, dang it. Sorry, the stupid sun is on the screen. And she refuses, and the only way she's able to stay close with Ashley is though Ashley ends up being engaged since they were kids, he's engaged to his cousin. Yes, his cousin Melanie, who is a sweet little angel, like, too good for this world. And so the only way Scarlett's able to be close to him is by marrying Melanie's brother Charles. But she doesn't realize, which at first, in her defense, she didn't intend that. She was very distracted, and, realizing it was very upset, realizing that the war had happened, and Ashley was going to war, and, could potentially die. And so she's like, and when you have Charles, he's falling over Scarlet, and is like, I love you, Scarlet, just like the Tarleton twins would. I got this so hard to say. And she is determined, like, so she's distracted and very distraught about this, and that's the only reason she agrees, because it's the way she could still be close to Ashley. And Melanie is completely oblivious to this. And she doesn't even notice that Scarlet is in love with Ashley, and and like I said, this woman refused to believe that Scarlet was the manipulative person everyone says she is. And she is there for Scarlet, and Scarlet just takes advantage of that. She is very mean, and it's been a while since I read it, but I'm assuming she probably says a lot of sarcastic comments to Melanie, and is very rude to her. But it goes over Melanie's head, and she just takes advantage of Melanie's kindness, her love and support, and her devotion. And also, Scarlet probably does not want to be alone. And deep down, and I think that's a very human nature. That's just human nature. So Scarlet and Melanie are, live together, because it's convenient. It's easy for them. Because they both have husbands in the war, and there's no sense in Scarlet getting her own place. Like, it wouldn't make sense at the time, at that time. And maybe they couldn't do it anyway. Maybe Scarlet couldn't do it. And another person, Ashley, who knows that Scarlet's in love with him, I'm pretty sure. He still, because he, like Melanie, will only see the good in Scarlet. Well, he's like, Scarlet, I know you love me, but you and I are never gonna, I think, like, Scarlett's such, her personality is so strong that I feel like, I wonder if anyone ever even looks to Ashley and put some blame on him, because he doesn't really, he's not he's not forceful about telling, he doesn't stop Scarlet from fawning over him. I don't remember, I don't think. He's kind of passive about it. Like, he's like, I know you love me, but we can't be together. And he does not push her, he does not put in the effort to draw boundaries. Not that Scarlet does anything too, like, well, there is that one scene where they get caught, but they're not, it's a people, because people know that Scarlet is not above throwing herself at Ashley. They just assume, when the two of them are caught in a moment of embrace, that, oh, they're doing something, But they also won't say anything or actually, I think they do, but Melanie doesn't believe it. Refuses to believe that her husband and her sister-in-law would do that. In which it ends up being perfectly innocent. They were just, showing affection, but it wasn't like a love affair kind of affection, if I'm remembering correctly. They just get caught, embracing. And so people just naturally assume things. And I think at that point, Scarlet is married again. And I don't know if she's married to Frank or Rhett Butler at that point, but I think she is married then. So it's like, and of course, anytime you're touching a man that's not your husband and not your brother, at that time, I imagine that was like a big no-no. Like, you couldn't hug another man. And so that kind of, I'm like, because, like I said, because Scarlet has such a strong personality, and because she can be so mean and manipulative, like I said, no one looks at him. No one looks at Ashley and points out that he should have drawn boundaries and be like, yes, I care about you, Scarlet, you're my friend, and I know you have feelings for me, but we can't be, and I find you beautiful, but we can't do anything about this. Like, he should have drawn boundaries. So that kind of bugs me a little bit, that he, like, I mean, maybe he actually does get criticisms. I don't know, but I would think, I hope he does. And that it isn't all just put on Scarlet. But anyway, back to Scarlet. But she uses, like, and it's baffling how these two people don't see, like I said, there's merit to the fact that they only see the good, but it still doesn't make it any less baffling that they just cannot see how manipulative. But maybe that's just who they are. Maybe they're just kind people and can't see, because Scarlet is very charming. She's a very charming, charismatic person. Until she doesn't get her way, then she will throw a temper tantrum like a child. And, of course, I think she's 18 at the beginning of the book. 18 or 16. That's how these historical stories about young girls, they're usually like between 16 and 18 years of age at the start of their books. But, so I don't know how, like I said, I don't remember how old she was. But anyway, and she is like, so maybe that's just the kind of people, maybe because of the kind of people they are, they just can't imagine anyone being a mean, unkind person. Then there's Scarlet's relationship. Well, before I get to her biggest relationship, let me talk about, so you have her relationship with her sisters. And that's, of course, like any other sibling relationship. They butt heads, they fight, they are rude to each other, they can, there is love, I think, between them. I don't know, maybe that's just me projecting, because I love my sister. We didn't always get along, but I do love her very much, and admire her, and respect her, and everything. But then, like, one of the horrible things that Scarlet does is that she sees an opportunity. Frank has, and this is like, I think after the war, Frank has started his own business, and she sees an opportunity with this business, and that's why, and he's still, like, he's just courting her sister, so she sees this as an opportunity, and throws herself at him because he's an idiot, and she's so charming, is really a brilliant flirt. And but she knows that, okay, she like, that's some of her good traits, is that she's ambitious. Well, that can be a good and bad trait. And she will do what it takes to survive. Like, she gets shit done. That's what I will always say. To one of the reasons why I like will defend her is she knows how to get the shit done and will do what she is tough and doesn't let any, isn't like the other women of that time who were like scared and hiding and just waiting around for their husbands to come. She did things on her own. Like, she treks through the whole city of Georgia during, like, when it's being looted and there's fires everywhere and there's all these dangerous men about that might attack her. She goes through it all and does, she does eventually run into Rhett at one point, and he helps get her out of there. And I think they had Melanie with them, who was pregnant at the time, and probably might, and I don't know if she was conscious or not, but Rhett took charge and got them out of there. And so, like, she knows when to get things done. She knows how to. Okay, I want this. Sorry, again, the stupid light. I guess it's heaven's light. And she takes care of business, and will make sure that they survive, and will make sure. But she's also mean about it. She is tough. She is mean. And won't stand for simpering girls that don't, like, that sit there and are, like, scared little girls. She is like, will slap them in the face to get them to be like, get it together, don't freak out, we gotta get out of here. And she knows how to, like, she ends up being very good at business. She knows she's able to do, takes over Frank's business, which probably was not seen as something that women do. But she knew how to do it. She knew what to do, and she knew how to run it. She had the skills. Which, it's funny enough, she was good at a lot of these other things, but she was terrible as a mom. I mean, she loved her I think the little girl that she had, she spoiled her. But then, and she didn't but at the same time, she didn't give her enough attention. So the one thing is, she was bad as a mom, in a way like Cersei Lannister, who, like, yes, that woman loved that. The one thing I'll say for her, she loved her kids and would do anything for her kids, which is, in a way, her fault as well. But Scarlet, on the other hand, was not a good mom. I mean, in the sequel, they say she makes up for it. Like I said, I don't know if you would, like, look it up. It's called Scarlet, so look it up and just see how, and maybe watch a review of it, because I might not be the best judge of that sequel, but, I mean, you might be interested in it. Anyway, but. So those are some of her good traits, is that, like, one of her bad traits being that she's a bad mother, but she is good in other ways. That is traditionally not feminine. Like, women are supposed to be good at being moms, and she's not. She's masculine, actually. Which I'm wondering if that's, in a way, that's why Margaret Mitchell starts the book out with Scarlet was not beautiful. Because she's very masculine. I mean, she's very close with her father. She's a very close relationship with her father, I remember. Like, her and her father have a very heart-to-heart. And he's the one who realizes that she's pining for Ashley Wilkes. And he's one of the, like I said, he's one of the people who tells her, no, that man is not for you. He knows that she takes after him, even though she doesn't want to. And it comes out through the whole, like, when their home their home was taken over at one point, I think, by the Northern soldiers, I think, and like I said, it has been a long time. But she ends up taking charge of taking care of their home and making sure the land is, the land is taking care of everything. And it's funny that her father gave the speech about the importance of land to their family, and she's just dismissive of it and is like, that's not what I care about. I just care about getting Ashley to notice me. And how you're telling me that's not going to happen. But then she ends up actually being really good at taking care of the land. She did learn from her father. And I think that, it makes it interesting that despite her trying to pretend like she didn't care, she ends up caring and being the one that takes care of the land, unlike her sisters, who generally don't care, who take more after their mom. So it's just funny because she's not the traditional feminine woman of this period. She is very strong-willed, she's very stubborn, she's very ambitious, she's highly intelligent. She's willing to get her hands dirty and to get her way, to get things taken care of, to get things done. And she just has the traits of a more masculine person. So that to me is really interesting, that, this woman, I like seeing stories where you have women that have more masculine features in this time period, and what they have to do to survive, and their struggles, and how society judges them. Granted, Scarlet deserves some of that judgment, because not that, her ambition and working hard and getting stuff done, but that she, like I said, she's very mean and she's manipulative. She steals Frank out from under her sister. Her sister was intended to marry Frank, and Scarlet was like, I don't know, I think he should marry me because I need his business. He's a businessman, so he could make me money. So I will have nice things again. And have a life, a good life again. And, my sister won't appreciate that. Grant, Scarlet does not appreciate him. He's actually really sweet. Kind of like Charles. Both Frank and Charles were very sweet, devoted men. And I think she likes that because she can manipulate those guys. She can easily get them on her side. I think she likes, it's the same with the twins. They were kind of fools. And really were desperate to please her and impress her. And she just flirted with them constantly. And I think that's what she likes, when men are willing to give her all this attention and devotion and be obsessed with her, wanting to make her happy and be all about her. And, the two men in her life, her two quote-unquote great loves, Ashley Wilkes and Rhett Butler, they're not so easily, Ashley is kind to her and very sweet and sees her as a friend, but he's not throwing himself at her necessarily. He's not pushing her away and not drawing boundaries, but he's also not entirely completely I'm a slave for you, Scarlet, and I'll do anything for you. I'll have an affair with you and ditch Melanie, or have an affair with you right under Melanie's nose. He's still very loyal and devoted to his wife. And then you have Rhett Butler, he tells her like it is. He is very blunt with her. He tells her, I see right through your BS. You're mean, you're a bitch. You don't deserve Melanie's friendship and her devotion, but I like you. I have fallen in love with you, and you're like me, and we have passion and fire, and he's right, but Scarlett's like, nope, I don't want anything to do with you. It's all about Ashley for me. I don't want you. And they have a very interesting relationship because she's trying to push him away, but she also surrenders to him because he is also charming and charismatic, and he's probably a good kisser. And he is devoted to her, but he's not her slave. Although he kind of becomes, like, he is trying so hard to please her, but he's also not going to simper to her. He wants her to love him, and he wants her to eventually come around and want him and desire him, or to admit, even to admit that she wants him, because she does, but she doesn't want to admit it. And also she's like, oh, I'm better than you, you're a rogue, you're a scoundrel. It's like, really? I'm a rogue and a scoundrel, this coming from you? Because, and it's actually kind of funny that she is so like, I'm a lady and I don't go for rogues like you, and yet she is mean and will steal her sister's bow, and she doesn't act like a lady, but she likes to present herself in that way. She likes to make people think that she is, but then when the time comes to get things done, when she knows that she has to do certain things to survive, then it's like she doesn't care. She's not paying attention to that. But she won't surrender to Rhett and give herself to him and admit that he is her perfect match, that he's her soulmate, until it's too late, basically. And at the same time, Scarlet also really cares about what people think of her at the same time. Like, she does understand the value of a reputation and how people will talk about you and gossip about you and how important that is to develop a good reputation. But then she's also flattered, I think, that people talk about her. Like, she loves to be admired. And even if it's good, like, as they say in Hollywood, no publicity is bad publicity. So when people are talking about her, even if it's in a bad way, they're still talking about her. She's still relevant. She's still valued by society. She's still seen as someone worth attention. And she's still someone to be admired, and to be a mixture of admiration and fear and respect. Like, even though she doesn't act like a lady and is a flirt, she still is someone to be talked about. And it's just, she's such a complex character. Like, and she's so fascinating to read about, and you almost root for her because she does have a likability about her, that she's kind of charming, and you know that she's actually gonna get shit done. And that's one of the things why I root for her, because I know she is gonna fight tooth and nail to survive. And for me, that's impressive and admirable in a way. I don't like how she goes about it most of the time, but at the same time, I envy her. Like, not always her approach to things, but all the time, but just that she's not afraid. She's willing to do whatever's necessary. So, I think she's a character that you love and hate at the same time. And like Cersei Lannister. Like, I think not everybody's going to feel that way. Like, I think there are a lot of people that are, they just can't stand those type of characters, even if they are, they have even if they do have some things that are admirable, like, there are just some things that aren't. No matter what, you're just gonna hate that character. Like, because she is very selfish. She is a selfish, angry person. Angry, spoiled person. But, and sometimes for a lot of people, that's, no matter what, sorry, again, the stupid stuff. Like I said, Heaven's light is getting in the way, making my screen look fuzzy. And for some people, it's just, like, comparing her to Cersei. Like, I know that I like Cersei as a character, but not, and I even pitied her. I even felt bad for her at one point. And I think you can pity someone and not agree with them and not like them and not approve of their actions. But I think you can still feel sorry for them. If there's, not always, and that's fine if you don't. But, I do, in my opinion, I think you can. You can have pity for someone even if you don't agree with them or don't like what they're doing and are disgusted by them. But anyway, so there are times when I kind of pity Scarlet, but at the same time, I admire her and I respect her, especially as a modern woman, you know, because a lot of women wouldn't been able to get away with some of the things that she got away with. She didn't get away with them. She was judged by society and almost ostracized by society. But having allies like Melanie and Ashley Wilkes helped her to protected her in a way, shielded her from the ugliness of society, prevented her from being ostracized completely. And I think there were certain other people that liked Rhett because he was charming, and that provided some protection too, I think, because men, of course, can get away with stuff a lot more than women can. But anyway, so yes, this woman is so engaging to read about, and I do want to reread this at some point. I don't know when. This was one of my first really big books that I read, not in this edition. I actually read a mass market paperback edition, so that was a little bit smaller and easier to travel with. But anyway, and I did attempt to reread, but then I had said I bought this paperback because I had another copy that was a hardback that belonged to my mom. It was a gift from my grandmother to my mom when she was younger. And, I decided to, because, this book individually was $4. So it's like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go ahead and get this copy because this is an easier copy to read because it's paperback. But anyway, so I'm gonna reread it at some point. I don't know when. I mean, talking about it now and talking about her character makes me want to reread it. It reminds me how much I love it. Just, yes, there are some aspects that, like, for a lot of people, it's not enough to, it's not enough for them to reread it again, because there are aspects of how they portray slavery and the Black experience is not great in this book. It's very rose-colored. But, so, yeah. But anyway, so those are my thoughts on Scarlett O'Hara. I don't know what else to say. I just really loved her character. She was really engaging and fun to read about. Anyway, so I hope you guys like this video. And I don't know what my next character will be, but I did want to make sure, since my first two characters were men, I wanted to talk about a girl as a female reader. And I don't know, because I think I have done a video on Jane Eyre, or I might have just thought I did, because, I think about her character a lot as well. She's completely opposite of Scarlet, and there's different reasons on why I like her as a character. So maybe I'll just go ahead and do a video, even if whether I've already done one on her or not. But anyway, have you read Gone with the Wind? I would love to know if you have. I mean, if you're someone who doesn't want to read it because of, reasons, then that's fine, I understand. But like I said, if you read it, please, I would love to hear your thoughts on Scarlet as a character, even if you don't like her, like I do, and that's fine too. And I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!